What's up, everybody? I'm Retro Thomas, and you are my guest for some game development discussion here on August 11th, I believe. It's been about a week since my previous video, and I've made a lot of changes since then that are really great to my project. But before we get started, I wanted to very briefly discuss a concept I found really important, and if you're just getting into game development, I really want to pass this along to you. There are two approaches you can take when you're doing programming. You could take the ready, aim, fire approach or the ready, fire, aim approach. The default approach is ready, aim, fire. For me, it turned out to be more ready, aim, 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 and I never fired because I was deciding to read all these programming books, read tutorials, look on forums, watch the videos for XNA. I did all this shit and I never ended up actually getting started with anything until I changed my outlook. I felt that I needed to cover all the bases, learn everything, and sort of master all this theory before I got started. You know, when I would ask questions on forums, and people, when I hit a brick wall and people would say, well, you need to go read this book or do this or do that. No, don't listen to that, because what you need to do, in my opinion, is take the ready, fire, aim approach. If you get started and you hit a brick wall, just look up some examples, Google the problem you're having, and keep on going until you get through it. At least for me, this worked extremely well. Now, if I have a problem, I get to that brick wall, I stop for a day and I think about it, and then eventually I figure out a solution, either by, looking for it online or asking on a forum or I don't know, whatever. I found that I just never really was getting started doing any programming because this other approach was sort of holding me back. So I would really encourage you, if you have an interest in game development, at least with XNA, they have some great video tutorials on the Creators Club website. There's all kind of resources there. And an example of this is when I had to do a camera. I had no idea what to do. But you know what? I looked it up online, I found some information, I got in there, and I started tinkering. So for me, I learned a lot more by failing to do something or having to invent a solution. And then I'm a better programmer, in my opinion, than if I were to just go and find all of these tutorials and just copy all the code. Don't mind Francoise the cat meowing in the background, by the way. Alright, anyway, that's enough of that for now. Just go in there and get your hands dirty and dig in and do some programming, because it's worked out really well for me. And if you get stuck, someone will help you get past the problem that you're having. Okay, so now besides changing the background from cornflower blue to black, I've done some work with my map editor. So let me hit the E key and bring up the overlay and show you how this works. Now you should remember that previously I had a bunch of gray squares that the player could collide with, whether it was head bump or side to side or standing on them and jumping from block to block. I had those saving and loading to and from a text file, so I could actually save the configuration and load it back up. That was great, but obviously what I need to do is put in some level tiles. I'm trying to make an 8-bit style game, so I need some 8-bit style artwork, and I need to arrange them all to create a level. So I'm going to hit this Show Tile Toolbar button, and I'll show you my tile toolbar. It's pretty badass, isn't it? Well, all it is a big gray square, and it loads all of these tiles. It loads images and data from a text file. Then it arranges them all and centers them and scales them down to the appropriate size for each square in this toolbar. So I can drag this toolbar and the stuff that's in it anywhere on the screen, so it's out of my way. Then I can just drag out these tiles that are here. Now, this is artwork from Mega Man 2, so don't sue me, Capcom. This is Metal Man's artwork, and just a tiny bit of it. I'm going to have Honeybee do some more of these tiles. My goal is to actually reproduce his entire level, because he's got animated background tiles, he's got foreground tiles, he's actually got smashers and conveyor belts and things like that. So I'm going to try and duplicate that entire level, because if my map editor can load, save, and create an 8-bit level, then I'm pretty much good to go on creating my own levels. So this is just sort of to help me debug and test out and add new features where necessary. So for now, I'm just placing some of these tiles here. When I'm done, I will hide the toolbar. Let me grab my controller. And you can see the player will interact with all of these. Now the bounding box is a little funky. I mean, I should be falling through right there, but I just have to adjust the width of it and it'll be fine. So that's pretty cool, isn't it? It definitely is. So now I'll be able to actually save and load different tile sets based on the map that I'm working on by theme. And on this tile toolbar, I have a bug where it shows the first tile multiple times when I keep saving and loading it, but I can fix that pretty trivially. So I'm actually going to put left and right buttons on the side so that if I have too many things, I can just scroll left or right and get to the tiles that I need to use. So let me show you a tiny bit about how this works. In here, I have a document for tile data, and these are just the names of the tiles and the height and the width. These are all loaded along with the images themselves, and the toolbar will have entries for each tile that goes in it, and then I can drag those out on the screen. That might not seem like a really big deal, but I'm going to have an entire game engine ready so I can make 8-bit style games, which at least for now is my goal. You know, I'm going to just put more advanced artwork if I want to make a more advanced looking game. And I'll be able to use this map editor for any game I ever want to make. So it might not seem like the most exciting thing in the world to you, but to me it is, because I've got this whole engine of like the player colliding with all this crap. I've got a map editor which loads a map, which loads a toolbar, which loads tile icons, which load tiles into the map, which the player collides with. I'm very close to being able to save and load them when I adapt that code I wrote for the gray obstacle squares. So there's a lot of stuff going on here, and things are in very good shape. Hopefully next time you'll be able to see the entire Metal Man level. That is my current goal. And then after that, I'll have a little business lunch with Honeybee. We'll sit down and I'll be able to show her some screenshots of the sort of thing I'm looking for and discuss the concepts for level artwork. I love a pretty sweet looking game. So that's all I can think of to talk about right now. Oh, one other thing. I had to make sure that there was some depth to this toolbar. You know, if I click on the gray part, I need to move the toolbar. But if I click on this thing, I need to be able to move it out and place it as a tile into the map. So before, it was actually clicking on the toolbar and the tile at the same time. So I needed to fix that. The way I did that was with a Boolean variable. I don't know if there's better ways to do this or not, but it was pretty straightforward, and I thought, why overcomplicate it? Because I don't have a lot of things to be clicked on, just the map editor. So I set it to false. It was called something like, you know, toolbar button clicked equals false. Then if you click a toolbar button, it's set to true. If toolbar button clicked is true, there's no clicking being registered. I'm sorry, if the tile is being clicked, nothing is being registered for this because that variable is already true. If a tile has been clicked, do not process input from the mouse for the toolbar itself. So that way I'm just able to determine which things are clicked on instead of other things. So that's all I can think of right now. I'm a little scatterbrained because this is the second time I'm doing this video because Cam Studio crapped out on me before. So hopefully this works out well. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them and I'll be glad to be in touch with you. If you want to find out like all the stuff I'm doing every day, you can follow me on Twitter. I think it's just twitter.com/retrothomas. So I look forward to hearing from you, and if you're working on a project of your own, I hope it's going really well. I had a pretty good week and I hope you did too. So until next time, take it easy.